Hey, good afternoon, guys. Welcome back. I'm Kristen. I'm the fabulous football babe. It's Friday. Hope you guys are all had a great week. I am back in the car, back to the school pickup line. I'd love for you guys to subscribe to my channel, comment, tell me what you think. I'm here talking all things football all season long. So let's dive into last night real quick. Shorter ride today, so it's gonna be a little shorter. We had Bills. What is that noise? Car making noise. Not a good idea. I think it's my drink. Okay, never mind. Phew! Crisis averted. Okay, Bills Bucks last night. In case you missed it, Bills won 24-18. And shock of all shocks, get ready. I know, hold on to your hats. More controversial officiating, bad officiating, blatant, horrendous officiating, whatever you want to call it. It reared its ugly head again last night at the end of the game. Going for the Hail Mary, lots of holding. I don't even know what you want to call it. There's screenshots of it around. See if you can find them. They're all over the place on like TikTok and Instagram of this screenshot of two Bills players. It's like they were kidnapping him. I don't know how you miss it. I know other people. I didn't watch the end of the game. I went to bed because I didn't care who won, and I have kids, so I went to bed. Thursday Night Football needs to start at 7, not 8. But apparently on that same play, Mike Evans kind of had a shove, I guess, on a Bills player, and everyone's like, oh, well, they missed that call, and the penalties, could offset, so who cares anyway? And be like, here's the rundown, people, in case you didn't know the rules about football. If you have offsetting penalties, you know what we do? We run the play again. If you don't call the penalty on either, if you don't call the penalty, it's over. If you called defensive holding, offensive holding, penalties offset, replay the down, let's do it again. It's unbelievably atrocious. I talked about it before in my last video about just how blatantly bad it is and how officiating has always been bad. We can always go through time of any kind of sport and pick out bad calls and missed calls and all of that. This is literally almost every game, right? I mean, am I right? Give me a game where we're not having these conversations. It probably averaged out in seasons prior, especially to COVID, you probably averaged out maybe one a week, something in that range. You'd be like, oh yeah, that was really bad. Or, maybe 2 games. It really wasn't the topic of conversation. It is now the headline of the post-game analysis of the, here's the game recaps, here's your week 8 recap going in. It's so bad. It's literally the headline. Who was it? The Colts, I guess Jim Irsay just said that they got an apology. Okay, thanks. Horrible calls at the end of their game last week against the Cleveland Browns. Ended up in a Colts loss. So the NFL said, oh yeah, haha, sorry. What am I supposed to do with that? Doesn't get me a win back, doesn't get me the game back, doesn't get me a better season. What are you going to do to change it? Nothing. It is horrendous. I don't understand how this multi-bazillion dollar operation doesn't have full-time officials that you can pay enough of a salary that they can live and they can be a full-time official. I don't know if anyone didn't know that. They are not full-time employees of the NFL, so they get paid per game, I guess. Just pay them a salary. You make money hand over fist. It's unbelievable how much money the NFL makes. So I think we could pay the officials. I am not a conspiracy theorist by nature, but I have to say, I touched on this last time too. Is it any surprise that these horrible, horrendous, blatant is my key word here in these phrases, blatant missed calls, no calls, it's awful, started happening all the time when the NFL got in bed with the betting. right? NFL saw all this money floating around out there with people betting and fantasy and DraftKings and FanDuels and parlays and all of these things that you can do, and they wanted a hand in it. You can't blame them, but they decided, hey, there's a niche I can get into and get more money from it, so we're going to sponsor this stuff and we're going to get in bed with these things. And the reason these things do so well is because the house wins, right? The house makes the money. So if you have these games or these things, especially football, that is, I feel like it's so hard to even think that the NFL is scripted when you think about catches and different plays and the weird shape of the ball and the way it bounces and like the wind, crazy wind in Buffalo. When was that? 2021, where the Patriots won like 10-3. The wind in that game was unbelievable. Who would ever have thought that Sean McDermott would take the ball and not the wind in the second half? He deferred and took the ball, and so Bill Belichick got to pick the thing, and so of course he went with the wind in the fourth quarter. That's Sean McDermott. How is the NFL? Did the NFL tell him to do that? I don't know. Awful lot of players and stuff involved to do that, to actually be scripted and actually say, nope, this is how it's going to happen. You've got the OBJ catch against the Cowboys in his rookie year. You've got the godforsaken, gonna make me vomit helmet catch of Super Bowl 42. Like, that can't be scripted. That the ball just gently glides onto his helmet and stays there. That ball should have bounced right off that helmet 100 times out of 100. So it can't be scripted like that. But what they can control is an official, is a call. Don't call that. We don't need to, that doesn't have to pick up the flag. We have a meeting of the minds. Every flag is now this meeting of the minds for 4 or 5 minutes at the end of the game to be like, well, what do you think? Now let's not call it. No flag. No flags on the play. No this. The guy blatantly takes off his helmet in the field. Can't do it. It's a 15-yard penalty. Dead ball foul. It can't happen. No calls. It's any way. Like, whether you root for the, like last night, whether you're rooting for the Bills or you're rooting for the Bucks, like, it's just bad. It's blatantly bad. And the people that lose out when it's this blatantly bad are us, the fans. I feel like we're the ones that lose out. It makes it almost unwatchable that this is what's going on, and it's so blatant. You want to talk about some ticky-tack holding, too much of a push, not enough of a push in like the second quarter. Of course, I'm sure, you talk to line, offensive, defensive line people, they'll be like, yes, every time the ball snapped, I'm holding, or there's holding, or I'm getting held. I mean, that I think is the game. But some of these that are, again, in the fourth quarter, seriously impacting games. If that game was 30-14 Buffalo, 30-14 Buffalo, and they're just Tampa's just trying to heave it for something. I mean, it still matters in terms of tiebreakers of points you lost by, who you lost to, how many points you lost, all of those factor into third, fourth, fifth tiebreakers that can be needed at times. So it's still not something you wouldn't call, but it wouldn't be what I'm talking about at 3:07 on Friday, talking about Thursday Night Football. That's not what we'd be talking about. And it's horribly bad that this is what we're talking about. That this is, again, the eye-catching headline of missed call. It was the first thing on my Facebook feed this morning. When I opened it up, I didn't stay up to watch the whole game. I went to bed. Thursday Night Football should start at 7, not 8. Gotta say, the greatest time I ever watched football, I was in California. Those games, oh man, it was awesome. You watched a whole slate of games, everything. Sunday Night Football all day Sunday. Sunday Night Football ended at like 8:07, and I still had all night to do whatever I wanted. It's amazing. But the first grab of the head was the missed call. It wasn't even Bills win. It was literally the picture that you can go find of the two Bills players sandwiching the buck and the missed call. Like, that's literally the eye-catching headline. That's what we're talking about. Still talking about it. Blatantly bad. Tell me what you think. Do you agree? Is it betting? I don't know. Again, conspiracy theorists, call it what you want. It's a little suspicious that this all happens when they get in bed with all the gambling. And in gambling, if you ever been to Vegas, they always say the house always wins. So, all right, I'm at school now. The dreaded pickup line. It will be the death of me. It is the bane of my existence. All you parents out there in the pickup line understand what I'm talking about. Subscribe to my channel here, like my videos, comment, tell me what you want to talk about, what you want to see. We got week 8 halfway through. It's so sad it's already week 8 in the NFL. It's already halfway over. Lots of football on Sunday. We'll be back on Monday, going to school, talking about all the games. Let me know what you want to talk about. I will see you guys on Monday. I hope you all have a great weekend. If you're doing any kind of trick or treats, trunk or treats, anything with kids, I hope you have a great time. Halloween parties, be safe. And I'll see you guys next week.